welcome into Boneyard Gaming's deck guide, and this is our Push to Pro Rank series. This is episode 3, and it is a very special episode because we faced a ultimate final raid boss to get into Pro Rank, and it's a super fun game, and it was a good game because we were rocking a pretty fun deck. I loved this deck. I had so much fun playing this deck. Yes, it was draw dependent and it had some issues, but it really added up for some really good games. I give a lot of credit to Singularityy for bringing this deck to my attention. We had a lot of fun with it. So, if you're here to see that last game, we'll have the video chaptered out, so you should be able to skip right to the final game and check it out. But we've got a lot of good games to show you what this deck's potential is and why I like it so much. So we go tactical advantage to start off with our Inspired Zeal list. And, we need the tutor cards. Because this deck really depends on when you get your cards and how you sequence your cards, that is extremely effective in making Oneiromancy and Amphibious Assault almost your most important cards. But, Squirrel, we see a lot of Squirrel out there. These cards were getting eaten out of our graveyard, things like that. I tried to make some games available in the guide here to show you, well, what happens if you don't get the best draws? Or you don't get the best sequencing? Are you dead in the water with this deck? No, I don't think so at all. Because you can kind of continue the Blue Stripe Commandos. So say, your round 1 effectiveness is to try and copy Blue Stripe Commandos with your Blue Stripe Scouts. Well, technically, say you aren't able to get all your Blue Stripes created. Well, maybe you have to Pavetta later, and you have to kind of pick up where you left off with the Scouts. There's things that we did where we were still able to get these to be the 8-point play that it can be, just maybe we weren't able to get it all done in one round, which that's okay. But Roach is definitely I like to hang on to Roach. I think with some other people, they might play this a little bit differently, but Roach, to me, is after I've Pavetta, and then I use Roach to just point slam all of the Commandos. Heat Wave is just such a versatile card. If you're going to take a tall unit out, you're going to take a defender out. Obviously, it's about the only good way you can get a scenario out. So, I just don't see many lists without Heat Wave, and I think it fits very nicely in this list. We aren't a super high control list at the onset until we've drogged, but Selkirk, I actually found myself using Selkirk in round 1 more times than not. He just has good removal. If need be, he's able to take a powerful engine off the board. That might combo with a Royal's Guard. So you might want to throw a Royal's Guard out there and kind of be able to boost up your Selkirk. Because the great thing is you're going to get instant Zeal on him right away. So, that's one of the pieces of managing your Zeal is, if you can't get the death blow on Roach, you've got to use Zeal, and then Zeal on the Blue Stripe, so he could cost you 2 Zeal, and Bullet could cost you 1 Zeal. So that's really the 3 places you want to reserve Zeal. Now, if you can obviously get a death blow here and gain Zeal, that might allow you to have a reserve Zeal for some other option, maybe a Mauler or a Ballista right off the bat here. So Pavetta is, there's a couple different ways you can use her. Obviously, she's the way you get your blue scouts back into the option. I will say there's a couple times where we were able, maybe the Mauler had, or the commandos had gotten removed in round 1, but I still continued to make copies with blue stripes and set them in the deck. And then, you know, you're in a long round 2 where you really have all these commandos sitting in your deck that you didn't get to use. Well, you could also Pavetta blue stripes again for that round 3 8-point play. So again, there's some versatility there that's pretty nice. But if you've got Pavetta, if you get your full round 1 commandos and scouts off, and you got Pavetta and Merciless Roach in your hand, your chances of 2-0 are pretty high. Because boom, you're gonna point slam, or you could drop points and then pass and make your opponent burn cards to get out. We didn't do that too much. I usually just went for the full 2-0, but it's certainly an option if you want to go there. I think I might mess around with that in pro rank with the list a little bit more, but you know, we had full rank 2, full rank 1 to really experiment with the list and had some good things. Natalis is a huge card, again, tutoring. You know, we do have a boiling oil in here to be able to, you know, have a third option for him to tutor. If you don't get Amphibious Assault, he'll certainly tutor it for you. But what I really like to tutor is Reinforcements. If you didn't get Reinforcements in hand, it's really, really nice because you can then Reinforcements copy a Blue Stripe Scout and then copy a commando, bring the commando out. So again, 8-point play. So that's really what you really want to be able to use Reinforcements for. Boromir is the MVP here. He's how you point slam. You know, this isn't a Revenant list. It's a Drog list. Revenant list, you're trying to build small Revenants and widen out your row gradually. Drog, I don't care if I fill up my entire row and then Drog and I'm full Revenants. It doesn't matter to me because your value isn't in Revenant death blows. It's really not. Your value is filling up full Revenant row and then Voimiring that row for huge point plays, okay? So don't think that you have to do that. The great thing is you can play, say you don't have Drog, well, you can play Voimir on commandos. So he's still versatile in the list. The list has amazing synchrony, you know, synergy. Let's see. So again, the list is really built around commandos and scouts. Peller, couple times, you know, getting around defenders, maybe keeping a Revenant alive. He's just versatile, obviously, since Bond Beaver's not a thing anymore. Peller kind of makes a natural fit into the list. We finished out with Mauler and Ballista for kind of, you know, that Revenant setup or that Deathblow setup, or more importantly, getting Mauler and Ballista out for your Deathblow for Roach is really what these cards are doing. You know, again, I have drugged a few times, not the commandos, so it's nice to have Mauler in there with same thing with the entrenches to maybe you know, I know these are both row locked in different rows, but maybe you think about drogging without them and pop them on the same row. Obviously, Enchantress are there. Obviously, if you get 2 of them, you get 4 vitality on the second one. I will say that this didn't get a whole lot of action in my list. I wasn't able to use them a whole lot. A lot of mulligan targets there, but you know, I'd say Enchantress and Peller were my 2. You know, depending on my matchup, Peller was conditional, but Enchantress I usually was kicking. Ballista was huge, and then, like I said, Royal Guard maybe help keep a Revenant alive. Selkirk value. He's versatile with formation, whether you want to play him on front row or back row. So, again, we got a lot of good games to show off the different ways this can go, and why I think that even though it's conditional on the perfect run, it can manage even without the perfect draw setup. So I really hope you guys enjoy the video. You know, if you wouldn't mind liking the video, subscribing, those things are super helpful. I stream on Twitch. All of my links are going to be in the description below. Thanks to Singularity for the guide. I will give links to him as well. It is his deck that I got this from. The deck guide will link to his Play Gwent page there. It's pretty well upvoted already, but any more upvotes to show his deck some love is appreciated. And with that, enjoy the video. Thanks. So, game 1 here, and it's Monsters Overwhelming Hunger. And I'll tell you what, if you guys look at any data right now, Monsters is the highest played faction, and it's the highest win rate. That's because of Kelly decks. That's because of Overwhelming Hunger deck. It is certainly very big in the meta right now. In fact, you know, I will tell you what, in our Kelly matchup, Ronvid was our MVP because we kept just dropping soldiers, and Kelly would kill Ronvid. Ronvid would come right back. Kelly would kill Ronvid. So, I decided not to show that video, though, because I just think we just saw so much. Overwhelming Hunger, again, just like our Hidden Cash list, was by far our maximum seen opponent. And you know, I think it's a tough matchup for us, too. So I think that was very important to show. Monsters has the capability to bleed us pretty solid, you know, so we got to be careful on that side of things. Manticore, Myrna, there's certain Werecat, there's certain Death Wish cards. They're just extremely scary matchups for us. So, you know, like I said, we got a commando. We're protecting him. We've got a scout ready to roll. And we've got reinforcements. That copied. So again, once you've got one commando copied, it's really nice to bring them out because now they can't get 2 removal at once. I like to use reinforcements right away, even before I use that second scout in deck, because you know, you can always use that other scout easily later on, but the reinforcement, it's only going to combo well you've got those scouts readily available, and usually round 1's the easiest chance to make that happen. So we didn't have AA here or Oneiromancer. So not the best hand for us, but again, we're still able to put solid points out. That's huge. Like I said, you're not always, even when we get perfect sequencing in round 1, that doesn't mean we're always going to win round 1, but winning round 1 isn't super important. What would be scary is if you don't win round 1 and you get bled just enough for an opponent to get all of your commandos out so that you drop huge amounts of points and then they get you to pass. That would be what you don't want to be susceptible to. But if they're going to go along round 2 with you, there's a lot of times where we have an opponent bleed us for a long round 2. There's no chance with commandos in our hand and Pavetta working for us. They were going to win that round. And then a lot of times it came down to the best 3 cards in a short round 3, which you win some, you lose some of those. But I had maybe a few games go really bad where I was 2-0'd, but that's going to happen when you get awful draws. But we also did our fair share of 2-0'ing, which we'll show. Like I said, I'm just making sure that he has to play another card. I don't want him to be able to eye it. So he's going to get Harpy value on us. Which at that point, man, he had a really strong round 1 hand. We lose on even, and that kind of sucks. Again, Overwhelming Hunger was just tough for us. to lose on even like that. Again, you're going to see that we don't have Pavetta, but, you know, getting Oneiromancy is hard, and then getting our Pavetta is hard. So now it's like, okay, we can breathe easy. No matter which way the opponent goes, or what direction he decides to take us, we're set up. And I tell you what, the worst thing he could do is not take us to a long round 3. Is take us to a long round 3. He should bleed us, but he doesn't, and that's going to be a mistake that if monsters, even though they've got Scenario and they've got Detlef, unless you are really hurting on your draws, you should be able to hang in there for and like I said, it's not a deck that you want to take. We beat Symbiosis in a long round 3. We beat Hidden Cache in a long round 3. Between Voimir, Drogging, Revenants, Ronvid, I mean, it's just, we've got a lot of action in round 3. In fact, I'm thinking, you know, we wrecked a Petricide of, I mean, you know, 30-point win in round 3. I know, like I said, Symbiosis. Lippy, I would say, and I feature Lippy deck as well, was another tough matchup for us. But Overwhelming Hunger and Lippy, I think, were certainly the tougher matchups. I mean, I really love our hand for a long round 3. So, yeah, there's no chance in even wasting anything. Go ahead and get those. And like I said, Pavetta's still a 6. I mean, Pavetta's a really strong card. A 6 on her own. And then, oh, by the way, she puts, you know, anywhere between 4 and 28, or I guess 4 and 16 points in your deck. So there we go, we're building up our front row. I will say, managing this list, you're gonna want to very much plan out your rows, because, you know, you've got Mauler who's row locked, you've got the Enchantress who's row locked, so you've got some certain cards. Obviously the Scout is row locked, so we still have a Scout in our hand, because we weren't able to finish that out in round 1. So obviously managing row setup is extremely important here. That having John Natalis tutor our AA is going to be huge. You can see he's going for the Myrna, and he gets our Ronvid, which, you know, again, Ronvid is not, if this were a Revenant list where it didn't rely on Drog to make Revenants, it really made for death blows, that would be huge. Because once Ronvid was gone, he was gone, but we'll use good old Ronvid for our Roach Merciless. Thanks, opponent. So that really made his Myrna completely. But, I mean, you know, that's RNG there. Obviously, if he gets the Mauler, it's a 6-point play. So, obviously, that was what he was going for. We'll take the luck we can get. And like I said, as you can see, we didn't finish our Scout in round 1. So, we're just going to go ahead and use that opportunity to finish making copies.
bloody non-humans.
There we go. Now we got full commando ability. Yeah, so there's, I mean, there's maximum combos of your commandos there, and you can see that, you know, there's 20 points in copies right there, plus what Roach gets you. So he throws out Werecat, and that's bad news for us. But, you know, you're going to see why that makes Voimir so important. Because, you know, he almost should have Werecatted right away. But I think he wanted to let that value essentially grow a little bit. And we want to go ahead. Right now, I'm not worried about Voimiring because I know I can still drog and cycle. If he were to Werecat again, I could then cycle out Revenants and recycle with each other. So that's why we're not too concerned with it just quite yet. So this is always a good time to draw because, again, with all the Revenants that we'll have, we'll absolutely, again, I don't care about, you know, like a Revenant style, building low on Revenants to really duplicate themselves out wide. This is about filling the row and getting Voimir value. So. But even, like I said, again, even if he Werecats here, yeah, we lose 2 full Revenants, but we can cycle out, no problem. You know, that's where in a Ronvid would really help us, is if we do take damage to the row, we could use Ronvid to cycle back up to full strength. Besides a point slam and the double proc, you know, we're not too worried about Averon. So he's sitting on that Werecat value, but we're gonna take it away. We know we can kill that one because then we can kill this one and get a full Revenant list value back.
Got a hearty hankering for Gwent.
We're just getting death blows here. And now we'll go ahead and put our Voimir together, and then boom. Now his Werecat's useless. Well, that was huge for us. Again, even if he does Werecat, it didn't worry me. That's why I didn't really change my game plan a whole lot. You know, like I said, Detlef is really the scariest card in their Overwhelming Hunger list right now, because if they can keep charges and they can put you to a 3-card round 3, or even a 4-card round 3, it could be dangerous. So I think the bleeding from the monsters is much more dangerous than you know, not getting bled like he did here. But he was able, since he beat us uneven, he was able to get double last say. So he gets double last say, and it's still not enough. Any Overwhelming Hungers that we lost to, it's just because they were able to point slam better than us in round 1, and they were able to bleed me better than, you know, get my Revenant list out and then take me to round 3. Or my commandos out. We'll just finish out our points here and wait to see what opponents' last say is. Or double last say. Like I said, just not going to be enough. No frost happening.
Show me what this toy you wield can do.
No werecat value. So game 2 here is going to be Symbiosis, and I'll tell you what. In our run with this game, or this deck, we saw a lot of dwarves, a lot of elves, and a lot of Symbiosis. I feel like those were the 3 decks that we saw a lot. And to be honest with you, dwarves I think was the only list that gave me a little bit of trouble because they're abusing the resilience and carryover list. But I lost to 1 because I don't think I really understood the deck quite a bit. And then once I understood the resilience that they were using, Heatwave was able to get me out of that one. But I chose this game to show you. I tried to find different play styles that I used to win here, and you know, I think this is a good opportunity to show you the powerful round 2 if you do win round 1, and what your options are if you want to go for the 2-0 or if you want to go for the round 3. You've certainly got good options if you win round 1. I usually don't like to go tall. That's why I never use my TA on cards. I just need enough to protect them. I know Becker's Rock Slide's pretty prevalent, but I don't think most people are going to waste a Becker's Rock Slide on Commando. And if they did, that's fine. Even if I have to go get a second Commando. Again, it's not about having your full Commando list in round 1. Even if your Commandos get killed, I still continue to make copies in round 1 because, you know, I just try to, you know, I'd say, okay, I'm not going to win round 1. I'm going to try to bleed up some more cards out of Mr. Opponent and continue to make copies until I no longer can viably stay in the round. This is a fantastic hand for us. I mean, really, we got everything we want. We had Commandos. We have our reinforcements. See, again, you know, he can take one out. Great. It's not about having Commandos on the board here. Yeah, I like the reinforcements first. Just because if he were to pass here, then I don't have to worry about trying to have reinforcements synergize with a scout. I just have the scout again. So that's why I'd always scout, reinforcements, scout. But he does. He doesn't let me finish the last one. I don't even TA. He just gets out pretty quickly here, and that's fine. I think he saw me. Hey, I'm making copies, and realized that he wants to stop that. He doesn't want to allow me to continue making copies, and passing is not, because I'm going to get Pavetta back, and I'm just going to get Commandos back, and I'm just going to continue making copies. You cannot stop the copy train if I have the cards that I need. And in fact, you know, I did have another Symbiosis list where I passed and took final say. But again, I like to show this list. I like to show this game because I decided not to draw Commandos. We had so many humans that I actually kind of switched it up a little bit and just, you know, went for some powerful versatility with the playstyle. Now we just got to get our damage set up. And even if we can't, No big deal. We have Zeal. Once, you know, he was anticipating a long round for us, so he gets dunk out. And like I said, cards that spawn tenants and it can't boost them up, you know, that's good for us. Those tenants are just fodder.
Stand and fight, cowards!
Like I said, so he wasted a damn, you know, he wasted removal on nothing for us. You know, this is a smart play. Elias would, you know, kind of make our targets a little bit harder. But again, you know, 3's still not, you know, still pretty easy for us to deal with if we want to Revenant. So, but again, we're row managing, so we know that we've got cards that are locked to the front row. So that's going to make sure that when we do place our commandos, we place commandos to the back. So I couldn't get damage out, but that's okay. No death blows, so we'll just double Zeal. We're going to go all in here. So again, you know, you could say, do you pass here? Say, you know, if we had full, you know, we still need to make copies, so that's why we wouldn't pass in this situation. But say you had been able to make full copies, you know, you could certainly take the option to get Roach out, put Pavetta out, get Roach out, drop commandos, and then just let your opponent try to get out of the round without being too many cards down. I usually didn't go that route because I just, you know, I felt like I had too much synergy with Drog and Voimir that it's not worth it for me to, I feel like you miss out on that synergy if you go that route. So that I just have never chosen to go that route.
To speak its last.
So in a situation like this, you know where I've said your Voimir value comes from just stacking Voimir? Well, I did think, hey, I've got opportunity here to create ones. So maybe I Revenant front row and do make an opportunity to spread Revenants out. So I think that was why you're going to see, this is where I do not drog the Commando row. Is because I want to use this opportunity to really stretch my Revenants out and use the opportunity to make combos. Now, having Ronvid here would have certainly been nice too, but, you know, Ronvid, because he picks rows, sometimes doesn't always fit right into the row that works best for what you're trying to do. So it's paying attention to things like this. Okay, well, I've got humans in the front row. We got humans in the back row. What's the best opportunity for me? So at that point, you know, like I said, if I would have drogged back row, I would have had one more Revenant. So I think that's why I'm going to Heat Wave the Dryad out and give me one more chance. I think Voimir was my last say card more times than not. And I just think he's such a powerful last say that I was consistently going for. So he does have Great Oak here. You know, that's certainly did stifle our Revenant progress a little bit, but not a whole lot.
We retreat behind surrounded with friends. First to make it.
We toss that Boneyard out and pop. Never going to give him a chance to play more, you know, a whole bunch more specials, and that really will keep his gourd value pretty low.
Used to chop wood, but the pay's better for soul.
Man, Lippy is back. I don't know if you could say it went anywhere, but I don't feel like I played against Lippy a whole lot last month. And, oh, it's back. Well, I'll say this. You know, we did win some Lippy matchups by losing round 1. Because we can sustain the round 2 bleed for sure. We have as much point slam in a round 2 that a Lippy does. In fact, some of my chat was being like, well, isn't your deck kind of similar to a Lippy deck where it's replaying its own cards again? And pish posh is what I say to that. But Lippy isn't going to 2-0 you by any means. But it does have a strong round 3, so that your round 3 odds are pretty 50-50-ish to win that. But I will say, in the games I did, I was able to get out of round 2 and maintain card advantage. So that would be the huge thing. Maintain card advantage when you're in a bleed in round 2. But again, we've got everything that we want in a round 1 here. We're just missing 1 scout. Not the end of the world. So we're seeing a lot of squirrel. Here you're going to see that we lose our AA. But, you know, sucks, but not the end of the world.
Bloody non-humans.
You know, there's a chance that, you know, without an Neuromancy or without a Roach, that you're right. You would maybe not have access to your commandos again, which could suck. You know, you play a deck that can be dependent on getting back to its, you know, being able to tutor cards from the deck. That's always a risk. So, you know, right now we know that we need to get Roach back. But, you know, we're up 22 points in a short amount of time. Lippies usually don't care. Their round 1 card is their round 1 to them is everything. That's all right. I feel like we have a pretty solid hand for the most part to keep going. I would say I've drogged in my hand. I'm trying to think off the top of my head if I drogged that many times in a round 1. I think I did a couple times, but not offhand. Didn't happen very often. You know, where you were like, hey, I have to, because again, winning round 1 is not that important for you. As long as you were able to make copies and set yourself up for round 2 and 3, it really wasn't too big of a deal. But I really do want to get out of round 1 here, so you can see me getting extremely aggressive. That did force the pass. Great for us, because now we get to take Lippy to a long round 3, where, you know, then if we can get Heat Wave in our hand, you know, really Ceres, we know Ceres is going to do her work. Our commandos will counter that. It'll just be about Heat Wave in Bear. So there we go. Getting Roach. Got plenty of damage. We're at 7 cards. We'll pass every time here and take that long round 3. You know, I will say this. I feel like there's a lot of different combinations of Lippy. And Igni isn't... Igni and Ursine are... I don't know, not so prevalent right now because it's all heat wave action. But, you know, if you're playing Lippy, be on your mind about it. Ursine and Lippy decks is still a thing. Pay attention to it. Be mindful of it. Like I said, we have a fantastic hand. But if we get Igni'd, that could be disastrous for us. Ursine doesn't matter to us. I mean, yeah, you're going to eliminate some Voimir value. But Ursine, you know, we ran up against a couple of Ursines. This deck is Ursine proof. So again, you know, no Crow Mother in round 2. We eliminated all of his carryover. That he's just gonna have to go to round 3. But that carryover is just not gonna be enough to deal with us. Plus, you know, those crows are fantastic roach death blows. So that looks good for us. Build Carl, so there's our heat wave target. But no rush. No real rush to heat wave that. Ronvid just comes flying out.
Death to the enemy!
On the board they go. You can see we're down 1. You know, we lost to AA because of Squirrel. But really that's it. Squirreling cost us, you know, AA value into a Scout. And then Scout value onto a Commando. So really, Mr. Opponent made a great play by, you know, that's great Squirrel value. Squirrel value. I mean, it's great Squirrel value that he got right there. By taking our AA out, because we would have AA'd into a Scout, got the boost, copied a Commando, and got another Commando on the road. But, you know, at the end of the day, it really doesn't hurt too bad, because, you know, as long as we can fill the row up with Revenants, you know, and that's where Ronvid gives us extra value. Hey, we weren't able to get all of our Revenants, and hey, some of them got removed. So what? We just let Ronvid will help us build back up.
Attention! For me, Bilberry's honor!
So this is where I should, like I said, I should have Royal Guarded. Got my Royal Guard proc off sooner to protect my Revenants. But I will be honest, this game I was not really paying attention to Igni. I mean, obviously, it would have played for, you know, Drog is a great protector against Igni, so he'd have to be able to draw, you know, he'd have to be able to damage that first. Probably, you know, if your opponent's going after Drog, which honestly, you know, I will say this too, that reminds me, Drog is, if opponents go after him, you actually don't care about Drog being on your row. If they go after him, let him die. Or cycle him out again, because that allows one more Revenant to be on the row and just maximizes your Voimir value. So, there's a couple times that they attacked Drog, and I just kill him, finish him off with Revenants. and cycle them out and have an entire full row of it. So there it is. See, he's setting up his Igni. So he does that. There I go. Cycle that out.
Retreat! Behind! Someone to defense!
So I'm just saving the Royal Guards in case I need any of them for, Gullet. Yeah, technically taking the lower ones. I shouldn't have done both. That was stupid. I shouldn't have done both. I should have kept one. But again, I would say that I wasn't... That's a misplay. I should have just procced one for the, with the Royal Guard. I could have saved the other one for Gullet. But... Like I said, he gets initiative. He gets initiative value on us.
Not your lucky day.
But again, we don't care about losing 2 death blow units. Yeah, we don't get a cycle out or drugs. We're so far ahead right now, it doesn't matter. That wasn't a great Igni. We protected ourselves. And we still got Vormir value. That's the important thing. I don't really care about having 2 more Revenants. But he finally gets his Lippy out.
Time for some marauding!
Your stench.
You know, but again, Lippy, just like us, they play wide. There's really no tall units. And you see, he just forfeits on us, which we had it anyway. And here it is. The granddaddy of them all. The ultimate raid boss. This is truly our game to get into pro rank here. So tryharding and our sweat levels were extremely high here. We did not want to get gatekeeped here. But I'm going to tell you something. If I had a card full of Oneiromancies and I could literally tutor any card in any option I wanted, our hands were so perfect and so well done that I don't think I would sequence any different here. We really got lucky. But that just shows you when this deck does hit what it's supposed to hit, it's a tough one to beat. We got very lucky in how we were able to sequence. And then from what his deck was looking for out of, you know, as far as bleeding value or bloodthirst value, some of those things played well to our advantage as well. So we got, the matchup was a very unique one. He's playing a pirate list, which I will say that when I did play against him initially, I wasn't super familiar with what his game plan was or what he was after. So some of that did play right into what he was looking for. But you're gonna see our final say is just so epic that well, not our final say. He has final say, but our last card just turns out to be an epic one. So again, everything I could ever want in the hand. Both scouts. We've got Natalis to tutor our reinforcements in. So we know that the ability to make all of our copies in round 1 is there. So really, I don't really need to be too concerned about what he's setting up or what he's doing. I just need to be setting up my cards for the later rounds. Again, winning round 1, not important. What is important is setting up your commandos.
Regroup. Semper Fi.
So, you do worry, I'd say Skellige has the one chance to probably, death blow a 2 and a 4 in one turn. So that was a little bit nerve-wracking. But again, we just only had one more copy to make. We'll tutor that through Natalis.
Dark clouds gather over to Miriam.
And there it is. I mean, right there. That's what you want in a round 1. No matter nothing else, you're fine at that point to get out. You don't need to keep going if you don't want to. But you're 32 points in 4 cards. I think is pretty good. Actually, I would say, I said that that's really what you want to get, but also it's also nice to get Ronvid out. And I should mention that. It's nice to have Ronvid out in round 1 as well, so that you can
Children, elders.
have him be popping out in round 2 and round 3.
For me, Bilberry's honor.
So that, we don't go tall. So, that's about the best Morkvarg you will get against us. At that point, he's got us by 15. But again, we literally got out every card we want in round 1. We've got Roach and Pavetta in hand with some damage proc and Drog. So, at that point, you just want to make sure that you got a Neuromancy just for extra bonus. So AA comes back out. There's Oneiromancy. That's fantastic for us. Now, here's the thing. Because Skellige is a damage-centric faction, that's why I'm getting rid of Royal Guards. It's not about protecting units. They're going to get removed. So I did cycle out all of my... some Royal Guards weren't as important to me here. But like I said, I do go ahead and use Oneiromancy. Said I'm not interested in boosting guards here. So we'll have a 10 card on 10 card final round with no last say. So again, keeping damage in hand in my eyes is important. That's why we're going to drop Royal Guard. Comes right back. So, yeah, we do. We want... so look at that. Voimir and Heatwave are the only cards that we don't have, but we have an AA tutor for Voimir, and we have an Oneiromancy tutor for Heatwave. So essentially, we're going to play every gold that we offer, which is fantastic. So, you know, it's interesting. I always talk about what rows are you going to put your roach in, and some different options like that. Well, because Ronvid came out back row, and because he Hammond our Mauler, that totally switches my game plan up here to put my Gullet in front row, Maulers and all those things in front row, and Drog and Roach back row. So that really kind of switched up my mentality there. Which, I don't know, on second thought, you know, we could have turning Ronvid into a Revenant and then cycling him out. Probably wouldn't have been the end of the world. But... So that's where I'm starting to play everything back row to save space. So here comes the Corsair, and we see an opportunity to set up. All we're trying to do is set Roach up now. That's the whole point here. We want to set Roach up without using any Zeal, if possible. So he gets Tide Cloak. He's going to boost that right up and keep on rolling with his lead value. So just a little heads up, after watching his perspective, he's got a card called Warmonger that will damage an entire row, and he needs Bloodthirst 5 to get it. So he's really interested in setting up Bloodthirst. So that's his whole game plan, is to set up Warmonger, and then his final say with Bloodthirst, and he can almost wipe your board clean. I didn't know this at the time. We came very close to it. We'll say that. He came very close to wiping us completely cardless. There we go. We get Roach set up. We get our stripes on there and pop. So now we want to be thinking about Revenant Death Flows. We certainly want to get that row rolling, and obviously with low value on the card, it's a ping away from getting removed. I think it was smart to go after damage cards here and not boosty cards. So that's why, Boiling Oil is huge here for us. The sucky thing is like I said, we have to sell Kirk with the front row, so we got to make sure that we don't go too wide with our Revenants when we do draw, because we cannot break. Selkirk is just too important to not get row space for him. So that's just another thing you got to be careful about, is we want to get Selkirk out soon. So I want to minimize any of those extra damage procs. Once he gets boat builders out, I can see how powerful Terror of the Sea is becoming. And again, like us, he's not really going tall. So he hasn't set his graveyard up for anything tall yet. I really didn't understand that he was going after bloodthirst value, but I could tell he was looking for damage value. So Terror of the Sea became a card that I was certainly starting to become aware of, that was a card that we don't want to have to face. So that just made sense that we get rid of it there. And we just really did get pretty lucky, just in the way the sequencing rolled out for us. You know, the fact that we chose not to drug there and we chose the heat wave was very fortunate for us. So now when he does Higby, I can now erase that with drug. So that was pretty lucky for us. I'd say that's the one play where I would probably have drogged if he hadn't played Boat Builder there and built up his armor there. So that card became something that I was concerned about. So then I decided to hold off on drogging to heat wave it. So if he didn't play Boat Builder, I would have drogged probably, and then he would have gotten Tigby value. So it was just certainly a little bit of luck on our sequencing there, for sure. So now he goes after Drog, so that's fine, because I know that I've got Selkirks to still fit on the row there. I need all the Revenants that we possibly can get. So you can see that, hey, I want to get Selkirk out before I deal another Death Blow, because then I cannot lose Selkirk value. So he'll take out Tigby for us. That, I mean, that's why we can drog late. We aren't concerned about... I don't need to drog early and try to build Revenants up. I can drog second to last card if I want, for the most part. You know, there's just... We're gonna get our Revenants filled up. We don't need to spread out wide. So hanging on to drog towards the end is absolutely good to do here. So you are going to see... He uses leader charge to get Warmonger value. So he's going to get bloodthirst and damage the entire front row here. Okay? And because he's playing Wild Boar of the Sea next, he would get tremendous Wild Boar of the Sea value. But we literally erase the value by putting our cards back to normal and a bout of armor on them. So this completely bricks... not bricks, but completely negates the value of Wild Boar. We get the dub and into pro rank. So, GG's Trinet. It was an honor to play him.